The internet loves Pokemon. Some, a little too much. And I am no exception. What do you think I was? You clicked on the video. Hello everyone, my name is Cyanic, and yes, I love Pokemon. I love the cards and I love the games, but one of my favorite things is the illustrations on cards. I love seeing all the different styles come together, and I just think it's one of my favorite things about Pokemon. One of my favorite kind of cards in general is when it's a trainer and a Pokemon just doing some sort of mundane thing. I think that all stems from me wanting a Pokemon as a companion, and the only way I can really do that is by drawing that. So, come with me while I make my own Pokemon Sona and a card for them. My first step was making a rough sketch of what I would look like as a Pokemon trainer. My favorite Pokemon is Jolteon, and that's the companion I'll be giving this trainer, so I wanted a design that could match with Jolteon. I don't think I would be a specific type of trainer, but I do really love the dragon and flying types the most, so if I ever had to choose one type, it'd probably end up being one of those. If you guys had to choose a type of Pokemon to train, what type would you pick? And who's your favorite? They say every Pokemon is someone's favorite, but some of them I really can't see being someone's favorite, like Bruxfish. Sorry if your favorite's Bruxfish. For the trainer style, at first I was looking towards more grunge and cyberpunk aesthetics for my influence, kind of going for a similar look that Kanari has in the Pokemon ZA game. I wanted my trainer to look more sporty and active though, so I ditched the grunge look for a much more sporty look. I always name my Jolteon Nimbus after a cumulonimbus cloud. Those are the ones that can produce lightning, so I decided to lean more into a sky theme. I decided to give them a shrug type of shirt that could kind of mimic a cloud shape, especially as it gets down near the hands. The pants were very much inspired by the Unova trainer Hilda. I really like her spikes coming out of her shorts. I really thought that emulated the same kind of look Jolteon has going around his neck. I also decided to give my trainer a rope belt and some star shapes at the end of the rope, just so that way it kind of continues the motif of being sky themed. The leg warmer things are a leftover idea from the cyberpunk aesthetic. I'm not actually sure what they're called, but on Pinterest when I was looking for cyberpunk influences, I kept seeing these and I thought I could make them more look like clouds. To keep the theme on for sky, I also added a little lightning bolt shape onto the leg warmers. For my hair, I really wanted to use some lightning shapes as well. A lot of electric type trainers in the games have little lightning bolts somewhere in their hair. I really wanted to do this by giving my trainer a lightning bolt ponytail, but I just thought with the whole outfit kind of being flowy, it just wasn't looking good. For that, I decided to add a flowing braid, but then at the end of the braid, give it a lightning bolt effect. There's two little strands of hair by the trainer's face that are also lightning bolt shaped. I decided to keep the sketch fairly rough. I was going to spend most of my time on the trainer card art instead, so all I did was clean up some lines before moving on to coloring. The colors were fairly simple. Most of them I ripped from my channel Sona design and the Unova trainers. I really wanted my color palette to emulate similar to the Pokemon color palette, because I tend to lean for more earth tones and desaturated colors, and I really wanted my Sona to look very vibrant. The only struggle I had was with the shrug. I actually wasn't sure what color to keep it. I was debating between a blue and a yellow. In the end, I ended up sending the design to my partner, and they said the yellow gave it more of an electric type feel, and since I really wanted my trainer to be seen with Jolteon, I decided to go for the yellow. But I'm not sure which one I really ended up liking more. Let me know what your guys' opinion is in the comments below. And that is my finished rough design for my Sona. I think they turned out really cute. Now, onto the card art. The card art is where I struggled the most, and I knew I was gonna struggle the most with this part. I wanted my trainer and Jolteon to be doing something active, but still sort of like an everyday task. Didn't want some sort of battle stance or anything, because remember, we're going for a more chill vibe with the two of them. An idea I had going in was for the trainer and Jolteon to be on a walk, and for Jolteon to be trying to run ahead while the trainer was trying to catch up, but I wanted the card to be a trainer type, and with Jolteon in the front, it would feel more like a Jolteon-centric card. And also, it felt a really similar design to the Jolteon Brilliant Stars card. Which, fun fact, that is actually my favorite Jolteon card. And it is so much my favorite card that I have been gifted this card multiple times. I think I have 3 versions of this card. Anywho, I decided on another mundane task you can do with an electric dog would be playing fetch. I started sketching that out, and going in, I wasn't that confident in drawing Jolteon. Jolteon's a big part of this piece, and I really wanted them to turn out great, but I just don't draw animals a whole ton. I went on Pinterest and found a lot of dog references, and I think most of my Pinterest now is just full of dogs. But, you know, I think it all worked out for the best, because I think Jolteon turned out pretty good. For Jolteon's pose, I decided to have him weaving in and out through the trainer's legs while the trainer tries to step forward and throw the ball. This is based on my own dog, and whenever we took her on walks, she always weaved in and out between your legs, and it would always trip you up, and it's something I look back on very fondly of her, and so that's what inspired Jolteon. Lore-wise, I don't know if I could have a full party of 6, like, realistically. I don't think I could handle the responsibility of 6 different creatures all depending on me. I always viewed Jolteon as like a really hyperactive dog, when you would have to take on multiple walks throughout the day in order for them to calm down and settle in for the night. And I really think I could only handle 1 creature like that. I would like to think I could handle a second Pokemon. I really love Talonflame, and I'd like to think that while the trainer and Jolteon are going on walks, Talonflame could be flying beside them, and I could kind of take care of both of them at once. But, you know, who knows? This is all inspired by a trend on TikTok a few months ago, people being like, what Pokemon could you realistically take care of? Like, who would realistically be your partner? And I'm really dead set on Jolteon being my partner, and realistically, I think I could only have enough energy to keep up with 1 Pokemon. Going back to the drawing, once the sketch was done, lining was really easy. I do usually like to go for a more toothier line art look, but for this I wanted to make it a lot more smoother to be more akin to the Pokemon art style. Which, looking back, I'm not sure why I cared about that, since I didn't really care about the Pokemon art style for the rest of the piece. I think the closest I got to caring about it was the color palette. I really wanted the color palette to be vibrant, to match with the Pokemon aesthetic. But that's as far as that went. Speaking of coloring the characters was quite simple, especially since I took the time to make a color design beforehand. I struggle so bad with colors, I won't lie. I understand color theory, I've had multiple classes hammering in what color theory is, but when it comes to actually having the full color wheel at my disposal, I have a hard time actually picking what colors I want and where to actually put them. So going in with just one design already colored was really helpful in influencing the rest of the piece. With the one design done, I could use those colors from my character's design to influence the background, so that way I wouldn't really have to be thinking about both of them at once. For the background, I knew I wanted the area to be mainly grassy with like a little picnic area because I just thought that would be super cute. But everything else for the background was kind of up in the air until I started coloring. While making this video, looking at my thumbnails, I saw I had originally had a tree in place and some rocks, and thinking back, I kind of wish I had kept those instead of what I went with. I think it could have just been a more effective framing piece. Originally, I wanted some big rolling clouds in the sky, but it just left so much dead space up there, I thought the viewer's eyes would get lost, not look at the characters. I ended up going with some mountains that could like quite literally point the viewer back up to the characters, with the peaks just being big arrows. I do wish I'd kept the really big cloud in the background, and maybe used the tree. Again, I think it would have ended up for a better framing. But, you know, I'm thinking of that now, and so it's a little too late to go back. I had also originally pictured the background as having more warm colors, but I did want the background to feel like the classic Pokemon with really vibrant blues and greens, and so that's what I went with. Now, choosing those colors was a bit painful because they were clashing so much with what my character's outfit looked like. And so in the end, I had to go in and desaturate them a bunch. I still think they're saturated and give the Pokemon feel, but I do kind of regret not going for a warmer palette like I had originally intended. To make all the colors a little more cohesive, I put one big multiply layer over everything and turned it down really low. I usually do this when I need things to just look more like they belong together. In the end, I do actually really like how it all came together. I think it looks very pretty. So this is the final card art of my trainer. And here are all the card decals laid on top. The card decals laid on top, I actually found a website for where you can import any image and you can make your own card and shift around the decals and everything. And I'll leave that in the description. Despite some post-art thoughts on what I should have done for the background and colors, I actually really liked how it came out, especially after putting the card decals on. Let me know what you guys think about how it turned out in the comments below. Now, before you head off, if you guys don't know, this is actually my first video on the channel. So if you enjoyed what you saw today, let me know by subscribing and leaving a like. I have plenty of videos to come, but of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!